Good afternoon. Welcome to Game Retail Ramblings. My name is Travis Severance, owner of the largest game store in the country, Millennium Games, coming you live from Millennium Games Studios in Eclipse Prepared, Rochester, New York today. I appreciate everybody that watched the last episode. We had some great feedback and really good conversations. It's become really interesting to look at what the CCG landscape is to kind of carry last week's episode forward. Star Wars Unlimited has obviously gone wild. If you're paying attention to that at all, there was a pause in supply, and Asmodee had released a conversation to the players and to the retailers about how they're going to be able to handle the supply chain and how they're going to gate some of that, which is encouraging. I think there's a lot of times when CCG publishers maybe don't have the discipline that they need to in order to figure out what a healthy amount of product is in the marketplace. Boxes go to zero really quickly. The value of singles go to next to nothing, and then everybody's kind of left holding whatever's left over the cardboard that nobody wants. So it's nice to see those things happening from the publisher side of things. We'll see how Magic with Cowboys goes. One Piece has got a new set coming in as well. So CCG stuff has been really, really encouraging. Our numbers are pretty crazy here. Talking to other retailers in the country too, they're doing well in that space, and we've got some more good ones on the way. But today, we're actually going to talk about Free RPG Day. For those of you that are unfamiliar, Free RPG Day is going to be June 22nd this year. Stores around the globe are allowed to purchase a kit that has contents from over 30 publishers in the role-playing space. They put either quick start adventures in or some sort of a specialty product for customers to be able to get involved with their brand that are maybe unfamiliar with them. And stores around the country will host these days to really put a highlight on role-playing games in general. So it's basically the only holiday that is built into the game industry specifically, and it's sort of akin to Free Comic Book Day on the other side of things. Free RPG Day was started in 2007 by a gentleman named Aldo Ghazi. I'm pretty sure right now he's actually on a boat in Antarctica, out in a cruise with some other game industry folks. So hello to him if he takes a look at this. He was the person that owned Impressions Distribution, which back in the day, not that we don't have this today, but it was a sub-distributor. So publishers that were maybe not large enough for traditional distribution to take a look at what their catalog is because they didn't have enough to really buy in for their line, they would go to a sub-distributor like Aldo with Impressions, and he would take on sort of the fulfillment and the shipping and that sort of stuff for those publishers so that they can get out into distribution. And part of the deal was the distributors would place an order with Aldo, and he would push out a bigger box as opposed to just the small single boxes, or maybe they've only got one or two books or a small miniatures line or so on and so forth. Well, part of that was he had a whole bunch of smaller publishers that were making role-playing games at the time. Games that people maybe didn't know or weren't as popular as something like a Dungeons & Dragons or a Pathfinder or that sort of thing. So one year, actually, what happened was in the Free Comic Book Day box, somebody at Wizards of the Coast decided to put in a supplement that was sort of a what is D&D? What is Dungeons & Dragons? And it was pretty popular for the stores that participated that were the comic book stores with that little D&D insert. So fast forward a couple of years, Aldo has a couple of different publishers there that are doing their thing. And he said, how challenging is this model? Like, I've got 10 to 12 publishers that I'm working with in the book space. There's a handful of other friends of mine that I know would want to participate. So could we look at doing something and putting it on the calendar at a set time when people could really look forward to role-playing stuff? So it was books and supplements and accessories and different things like that when it started. Smaller, significantly smaller than what we are today, but the first year was 2007, a little bit over a dozen publishers. Roughly, a couple of hundred boxes were made that year. There were some shirts and some posters and that sort of thing, and it was pushed out. And it was met with some amount of success. He did well that first year, and sort of slowly but surely, gradually, he grew that more and more and more to the point where he had been doing distribution for a while. He had been handling the Free RPG Day stuff for a little bit of time, but what he really wanted was he needed somebody that was going to sort of steward the event into make it a modern event, make it something that stood for what the role-playing universe had sort of grown into. So there were a couple of times when myself and my business partner, Steve and Paul, had met with him at different times to talk about what that would look like. Paul had started working with him a little bit on the side as far as getting publishers on board to understand exactly what he had going on in the back end. So there was a contact with the publisher and who was going to participate and so on and so forth. Talks got to the point where they were really good. He was at a spot where he was thinking about the other side of his business as well and what he was going to do next. But he wanted to offload the event to somebody that he knew that was going to take care of it. And we were in that space. So push came to shove. 2019, there was an announcement that went up on ICV2. Gaming Days LLC was formed, which is the name of the company that we own now. And we purchased the rights to be able to handle all of Free RPG Day. That first year, we weren't really involved in much of anything other than getting the boxes where they needed to go. All of the publishers had already committed at that point. We already knew what the box was, so we didn't have any real opportunities to change what the configuration was or who was in the box, what kind of product they had. So it was sort of on rails that first year. We managed the back end of what the website was and handled the fulfillment side of things and, wrote the checks where they needed to for that side of it. But in general, the day was already going to happen that year. And then the following year was the first time that we actually got to take it over, which was 2020. Well, there was this thing that happened in 2020. I don't know if everybody was part of it or not, but we ended up having to move the date for the day due to the fact that COVID was an actual thing, and we ended up going instead of the traditional day, which is the third week in June. It ended up being an October date, just based on the way that the world was and how events were and things like that. But it also gave us a bunch of time to line up a bunch of really good publishers. We had some publishers that came into the box that had never participated in the box before. We had some older publishers that had been in there since day one. Joe from Goodman Games had already put in his stuff. The Paizo team has always been fantastic. Paizo Publishing is just been a real stalwart partner for us since the inception of Free RPG Day, but even for us now, they're somebody that we can count on year in and year out. People that are just consistently reliable. They're going to have something for us that's going to be good, and they level it up each year to make it a little bit better. So we took it over. We looked at growing both our international footprint, and we looked at growing our domestic footprint as well. Got ourselves out in front of a lot more retailers, completely redid the website. We took over the ordering platform. And what we started to set out doing was meeting what the fans wanted in terms of quality for components that were in the box, and then also talking to the retailers about some pain points that they had in the past. Some of those pain points were they didn't know it was in the box before they needed to order it. They weren't sure what their tracking was going to be on the shipment that was coming in. There wasn't a retail locator. Nobody knew how to find them, so on and so forth. So the first couple of years, we just sort of set off operationally to be able to meet the demands for them. And then on our end of it, we wanted to make sure that the box had enough value in it that retail wanted to make sure that they brought it in for the price that it was. And we also wanted to make sure that the fans were going to get something that they wanted to see in the box. There are some publishers that, despite our best efforts, one specifically in particular, that there hasn't been an ability for us to be able to get something specifically in their box, which is why we have worked with some of their licensing partners to be able to get some of their product into our box to meet the demands of some of our fans. That said, we've essentially doubled the amount of boxes that go out now compared to where it was 3 years ago when we took over. We're in 22 countries now. It's a little bit over 700 stores globally that participate on this day. And like I said, it is a holiday to celebrate role-playing games, which there aren't a whole hell of a lot of them that exist. We have a lot of pre-releases, we have different things that come out and board game parties and stuff like that. But as far as like role-playing centric stuff, this is sort of it outside of the things that are going on in the convention space. So this year's kit is a banger. It is the best kit that we've ever created. There's a little bit over 200 items that are in the kit. There's 32 different publishers that are there. What I'm most proudest of is that it's a mixture of larger publishers and smaller publishers as well. We find ways to let the smaller, more indie publisher in the box, the people that maybe wouldn't be discovered normally by retailers and by fans. So we've got a really nice mix of AAA publishers, newer publishers, crowdfunding publishers. There's a handful of stuff in the kit this year that you can take a look at. It's on www.freerpgday.com. There's a front screen that's there. And when you navigate over to the site, in the very front of it, you will notice all of the publishers' logos. The publishers' logos will take you to the publisher's website, so you can take a look at the entirety of what their catalog is. And then you can also click on Sneak Peek. And the Sneak Peek part of it is going to have a blurb about what the particular thing is that they're putting in the box and why it's relevant. And then you'll also have a picture of what that thing is going to look like. So if you're looking at putting together ads or something like that before the day as a retailer and you want to put it out in front of some fans, you're welcome to use those images all you like. We're also developing on the back end, which is based on a retail request as well. We're going to create some Facebook back end stuff and some other opportunities where you can get the logo with the day and maybe do some customization and have some of the product that's in the box be a part of what your back end social media assets look like as well. The other thing that we do pretty consistently is we're out on the road and we talk to people about the day as much as we can. We have a lot of questions from retailers that are concerned or unsure or not sure if it's a fit, and maybe don't know how to put on the day or host the day or do that sort of stuff. So what we end up doing, other than the face-to-face time that we have, so we just had a booth at GAMA in Louisville a couple of weeks ago. We were there for all 3 days of the show, plus the extra days on the both ends before there was hall space. Talked to a lot of people, great feedback from people that have done the event before, and some really good feedback from people that were concerned or curious or didn't know what it was or how to do it or anything like that. So those conversations are invaluable for us. I know that I'm going to be speaking at the ACD Open House as well in Madison. We'll have a space there to be able to talk to people about Free RPG Day 2. What I will say is the amount of boxes that we have left now compared to what we had before GAMA has gone down significantly. So if you're a retailer that either needs to be reminded you need to order the kit, or a retailer that's sort of on the fence about it, we only have a limited amount of them. When those sell out, we're done. There's a small period of time that occasionally we get some international ones that are set back, but we have what we have and we can't make any more. There's some influencers that we're working with where we're going to send some stuff out, so our social media should be buzzing pretty well with that. There's a handful of folks in the space that we're going to send some materials to. They'll get to take a look at it, open them up, give you some more insight as to what the guts of the product looks like, and we're pretty excited about that. What I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to give you 7 tips on how to maximize the Free RPG Day kit in your store. We're generally talking to retailers, not that customers aren't important. You guys are the reason why we host these events. But I'm going to go through a list of things that we've found over the years, and even before we own the company, that work really well for retailers to decide that they're going to do that day and how they're going to bring it to the fans. These are in no particular order, so I'm just going to start with number 7 and then I'll work my way down. So number 7 is the first thing you need to do is order a kit. If you get 3, you get a discount on that kit. More often than not, we actually sell more 3 kits than we sell 1 kits. You're going to have a difficult time running the day if you don't have the kit. And again, if you order the kit from us now, if you have multiple stores, if you have multiple locations that you're looking at hosting the event, things like that, now there's a way in the back end when you do sign up to send it to multiple different locations. So you don't have to feel like it's, oh, I've got 3 stores, I want to get 3 boxes, but I only have one place that receives it. You can send them to those multiple stores, and you can get a store locator for every single one of those addresses as long as it matches the number of boxes you have. You can't split your boxes and do 2 locations that way, but you're allowed to put a store locator address for every single box that you order from us individually. Number 6, get some local game masters together and figure out if they will host some events for you. Figure out a way, if you're running Adventurers League, or if you're running Pathfinder Society, or if you're running something like that, we're going to give you enough time, a week or so, with the box before you're going to have to run the event, so they can go through some of the items and stuff and pick through that and figure that out. What we do with our local GMs is we sort of put together a goodie bag for each of them that ends up running the event for us, that runs a table or does a session with sort of one of everything. So they're going to go home with that, and then we do some additional compensation as well. It works out pretty well. We tend to have, 2-hour, 3-hour blocks, maybe depending on what the size of the adventure is and that sort of thing, where there's signups that happen beforehand, and then we also make sure that we've got some availability on walk-ups as well, so that people can experience the games that are inside of that. So talk with them. They might have some different ideas too. One of the things that I'll touch on with the box in general is we don't care how you use the box. Use the box the best way that it's going to work for your particular store. The only requirement is you can't sell it. So you can't sell any of the pieces there. Now that doesn't mean that you can't say 1 item per person and then an additional item with a purchase or things like that. Decide how you want to do that. They get an additional thing if they play in a game, or however you as a retailer decided that the box is going to work best for you. Feel free to do that. We get a ton of questions from customers that are annoyed at the way that you decided to run your event. We always have your back on that. It's your store. It's impossible for us to know how 700 different people should run this event, and due to the fact that it's sort of more of an independent thing, I don't want to have to put any structure on people. You know the store better than I do. There's some stores in Ohio that talked to us this year because they were concerned that with Origins going on, they're either vending at Origins or they're running games at Origins, so they didn't want to participate with the kit. You don't have to run the kit on that day either. It's just that's the day that we're saying, this is where all our marketing is going to be. This is where the store locator is going to be. That's the day when we're hosting the event. But if it just makes more sense to you that you've got some sort of parade in town, or there's something else that's going on in the following weekend works better for you, go ahead. You just can't do it early. We're going to send you the box early because we want to give you time to be able to have your DMs go through the box and figure out what they want to run and take a look at that sort of stuff. But as far as restrictions and go and how you decide to use the kit, it's carte blanche. It's up to you. Number 5, stock adjacent products for the lines that are in the kit. So there's a number of items that are in the kit that are maybe an adventure or some sort of a game experience in the kit that goes with current role-playing lines. To me as a business owner, it makes a whole ton of sense if I decide what I'm going to do is I'm going to stock up on the stuff that we're actually playing or that are part of the kit. I might not sell that stuff that day, but if they go home and they enjoy what's in the kit, they're going to come back, they're going to want to find those core books, and having that stuff on the shelf and available for them when they decide that they're excited about something makes a ton of sense. It gives them a chance. It gives you a chance to make that purchase, so on and so forth. The other thing that'll happen is if you participate in Free RPG Day, what happens is there's some communications that will come out from us that are from the publishers that are involved as well. Some of those communications are unique buying opportunities for people that have participated in the day. So in the past, we've had companies like Goodman Games and Magpie that have put together some stock up type programs that were really cool, a little bit better pricing. They deal with each of you individually. You can buy some starter set stuff or you can buy some expansion stuff and sort of send that out, and they'll give you some additional goodies and stuff. Magpie was really cool last year. They had some leftover Kickstarter stuff from their Avatar stuff. So we had there was a really nice reusable bag that was put in there and some other tchotchke stuff that was there to sort of give out to DMs or for the retailers to use at their discretion. That was just added in. They can't sell it because that would violate their Kickstarter terms and the stuff that they did. So they had different ways where they had a bunch of stuff that they had held back for damages and things like that to be able to push out. So as retailers that ordered with that, it was a huge boon for us. We had a bunch of other trinkets and stuff like that we could give out that the DMs that we gave them to really loved, or the fans that were excited about that role-playing system enjoyed as well. So we work with each of the publishers that we have to see if we can come up with something that's sort of a compelling buy-in for retail to stock up, to be ready for the fans that come in. That makes sense. Maybe there's a little bit of a financial incentive to you that's there. You build a relationship directly with the publisher as well. So if something's coming down the road, then you have questions and you've got somebody that you can actually talk to that's a face more than a logo. Number 4, and this one is super, super critical. Don't let the vultures ruin your day. I listen to people that talk about this every single year. And what I mean by that is if you're running this event, you are going to have some number of people that you are not going to consider customers that are just coming in to get as much free stuff as they possibly can, swiping the entire table, and then leaving and going to do it to the neighboring store and so on and so forth. I don't know why they exist, but they exist because it's a free thing that we're doing and we're trying to promote, and they want to max their value on their gas or whatever they're doing. Don't get focused on those people as much as you get focused on the other 99% of people that are coming in to enjoy the day, to celebrate role-playing games, to be members of your store, to figure out if they can be members of your community or run games for you and stuff like that. I know, psychologically we can all get our mind around how annoying or frustrating it is that person gave you some grief because you put a limitation of one item per person, or there was some sort of a purchasing model or a raffle that you've decided to put on top of that. But don't let that one or two customers that during the day that come in and do that be somebody that wrecks the entire event for the rest of the people that are actually doing the thing the right way. The other side of that too is the most common negative that I get about the day, aside from people coming in just to grab the free stuff and leaving and never going back again, is the event was unsuccessful. I put the stuff on the table and that's all I did. So part of the reason why I'm giving you this list of 7 things that are sort of best practices for this is if you just put the thing on the desk or on a table and you point to it when people come in and ask for it, and that's all you're going to do for this, the promotion is going to have limited success. You put it in the back of the corner of the store or something like that. You don't have anybody that's willing to manage it. It does take a little bit of work on your part, regardless of what we're doing in the social media space or with the retail locator, how we're trying to drive as many customers as we can to this day by putting really attractive product in that box. There is an element of work that you need to do the same way as you need to manage a pre-release or a game day or anything else that's going on. And the more effort you put into this thing, no surprise, the more successful it's going to be for you. So number 4 was don't let the vultures ruin your day. Number 3 is have a sale. We always run sales. We do sales on slow moving inventory that day. We'll do sales on some core product to get people into the line with the hope that, they'll continue to run some games, that sort of thing. Use it as a way to track some metrics on people being in there, invite them in, their initial purchase gets a little bit of a discount, and it'll help you move some of the slow moving stock that's there and maybe taking up some space, and you've lost some opportunity cost because you've decided to have that. And it also gets people in the buying habit as well. The amount of times that we have sales at this store, other than the fact that we have a consistent sales section here 24/7, is we have sales to bring customers in the store. And what happens is when we run the register at the end of the night, 80% of the purchases in the store are still non-sale items. The sale is just the event. It's just the reason. It's just the draw. It's the thing to bring them in. They're going to buy a sale item, but they're also going to look at other things on your shelf. So don't get too focused on, I lost 20% or 15% here. It's not about that. It's about the additional cart that you got or the buying stimulation that you built up. And are some people going to come in to just shop the sale? Yep, absolutely. That happens. They're an important part of the ecosystem as well. I wouldn't do sale items. I wouldn't do a sale on something that was an item that was difficult to find or something that was low stock or that sort of thing. But I would definitely take a look at what your supply is and say, okay, can I let some of this stuff go for a little bit? If you don't have a sale and you don't believe in sales or you don't want to do sales or whatever your hesitation is for a sale, maybe a comeback coupon. So somebody comes in for the day, they get some stuff, they buy some things, and you give them a coupon that they can come back at a later date to get some special discount or something like that, or maybe even do a raffle. Number 2 is promote the event. Wherever you use to reach out to your customers to talk about the fact that you have events or you have things going on or there's stuff that's working for you or reasons why you want to bring your customer into the store, use those channels to the best of your ability to advertise the event, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or just an event talker at the front of your room, or maybe you make an announcement at Adventurers League before everybody gets seated to say, hey, we've got this event coming up in a couple of weeks. Sort of prime the pump. Let the people know that you're actually having the event. Have something, the most successful retailers that I see have some bag inserts maybe a couple of weeks beforehand that go out with the rest of their bags. When somebody's up there buying dice or they're buying role-playing games, they throw a bag insert in that just says Free RPG Day is on the 22nd. Feel free to come by. We'll have graphics and logos for you to be able to make that if you'd like. Super, super important that you make sure that you promote the event. Number 1 is focus on the fun. The idea is we are running an entertainment model where we want people to come in from their daily doldrums and take a look at what we have as far as products go. Really focus on role-playing for that day. We do our best to make sure that we've got the rest of the games that we would normally run on that day sort of in its own area, and there's a special area that's specific for the role-playing people so that they feel like it really matters. Making sure that you have people in there that are actively engaged on being the event coordinator that day is super important too. If you have events, if you have signups, if you have something like that, you need a concierge or you need a maitre d' that's on that day to sort of direct the flow of the traffic. Somebody comes in, they look like they're lost and stuff like that. Nothing is better than having somebody be able to guide them or direct them into oh, are you here for Free RPG Day? Great. Did you want to stop in and do one of our one-shots? We've got another one coming up in a half hour. If you want to grab something to eat or grab a drink or that sort of thing, feel free to come over here and then just help them with the general flow of it. Because if they come in and they look at you and you're looking at them, and they're looking at you and you're not saying anything, you're not having conversations with them, then you need to engage with them and make sure that they're having a good time. Honorable mention. So that's 7 different things. My honorable mention is the retailers that I've talked to that go above and beyond for this day do different things like this. There are a handful of them that do food drives during this time. They will give players or customers that come in an additional pick at the stuff on the table if they bring in a canned good. I have people that do raffles for the high-end product that's in the kit that maybe there's limited quantities for, and the proceeds of that go to battered women's shelter. So you can do things that also engage the community in another level and use this day as sort of a platform for that sort of thing in terms of giving. You're giving stuff away, they're giving some stuff to you, you're giving that out to the community. It's a really nice thing, and it feels good to be able to give back to the community. So for my honorable mention, get creative with seeing how you can involve the other people in your community, whether it's maybe the coffee store next door or that sort of thing, like make a real day of it. So again, it's June 22nd is the day. FreeRPGday.com. Go there. That'll show you the retailers that are currently participating. If you're a retailer and you don't know if you're participating at all, and you go on there and you look at the store locator and you don't see your store on the locator, you are not participating, because as soon as you pay for your box, you are on the store locator and you're up there and you're ready to go. So I get a lot of questions every year. I don't know if I bought a box, or if I don't know if I did or I didn't. backend now is set up where you get an email for that that'll say to you specifically, yes, you did buy the kit, so you can search for that. But on top of that, you can look at the store locator and see if you're there or not. If you're not sure how many kits you have, feel free to send us an email on that. There's an email that's associated with that initial email that tells you how many boxes you had. If you want to update and you want to upgrade from a 1 kit to a 2 kit to a 3 kit, that sort of thing, and get more stuff, because that's happened. Again, while supplies last, you can do that. For my international partners that are out there, distributors should be getting their product allocation soon. They should be sending you information on how you can order that and when you can get on board with that. You should be able to also insert yourself on the store locator now. We're going to send you a link that'll allow you to do that. So our international stores that are in Europe or Australia, we have a Southeast Asian contingent, that sort of thing. You guys should be allowed to use the store locator this year as well. So your local customers should be able to find you. Again, if your primary distributor hasn't reached out to you on that kind of stuff, just hang tight. That stuff is coming. Your stuff is allocated, and it'll be sent out when they have gotten it from the fulfillment center. So that's going to wrap it up for today. As always, I stay after and I do a little bit of AMA for questions that people have at the end of the show. Please like and subscribe if you can. I appreciate the comments as well. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has in the comments on YouTube, and my Spotify numbers are growing, so that's all a credit to you tuning in and listening. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel. I think I'm going to be talking about Star Wars Unlimited. Don't hold me to that, but there's a really good chance that Star Wars Unlimited is where I'm going to go from here. We'll see. If something else really hot comes up, then I'll go to that. But for right now, assume that it's going to be Star Wars Unlimited next week. Thanks, everybody.